Good morning. Welcome to the weekly session that we do on Tuesdays, 11:15 a.m. U.S. Central Time. This one is zoomed out to associates of West Penn Mutual Insurance and also being streamed live to YouTube. So this week's featured set is an adaptation with a few tweaks to, welcome to the, I do need to mute myself on one of these things here. Tuesdays, 11:15 a.m. U.S. Central Time. Let's try that. I've got multiple machines running and one of them's talking to me. We don't need that. So today's featured set, an adaptation with a few tweaks from the stock version of from my lineage, Long White Cloud, called Between Heaven and Earth. We'll begin today. Normally we begin with a little breath, so let's do that. Big breath in and blow it out. One more time. And we're starting sessions this week with a bit of meridian tapping. So take a couple of fingers and begin tapping up and down the sternum. Just lightly tapping up and down. It's kind of waking up the energy in our body. The set we're doing today, Between Heaven and Earth, works through what we call the extraordinary meridians. We're normally doing either element work or different sets that work on the 12 organ meridians, the yin and yang meridians. This set, you can think of those meridians as maybe rivers of energy, whereas the extraordinary meridians would be more analogous in that model to oceans. So one of my favorite sets to do. I did this one earlier today out at one of the branches and had several comments. I see why this is your favorite, so I hope you enjoy it as well. Alright, let's take one hand and walk the fingers over into that little hollow area just beneath the collarbone, and with a loose fist just begin tapping onto that hollow area. This is the end point of the lung meridian. Also is the location of the L1 and L2 acupressure points. We do this to stimulate the immune system. Now, it's just like the old days of streaming. Looks like I have a little furry company coming. And let's take the palm of that arm up, flatten out the hand, and tap down the underside of the arm. Turn the hand over, tap up the outside of the arm, take it up over the shoulder into the neck well. Now let's go through that sequence 2 more times on this side. So tapping into the hollow first. And then taking it down the arm, turning the arm over, taking it up, and then over the shoulder. One more time on this side. And let's repeat that on the other side. So walk the fingers over, find that hollow spot. Loose fist, and tapping there. Palm up, flatten out the hand, tap down the underside of the arm, and up the outside of the arm. And we'll do that 2 more times on this side. Those of you who might have seen videos from upwards of a year ago or a little more recent than that might remember the kitties. They're not so little anymore. Let the arms hang free for just a second here. Shake them out. And then back to a couple of fingers or loose fists on one side. Okay, at the bottom of the ribs, we're going to go from the ribs down to the hip bone. Just gently tapping. And let's take that over to the other side. Bottom of the ribs to the hip bone. Let's take the hands behind the back and with a loose fist begin tapping up and down on either side of the spine. Tapping into the kidney area. Kidneys, the governors of our energy. And fitting with the season as we begin to do water element practices now. Those meridians go all the way down into the feet. Let's tap down the outside of the legs, just slapping with a flat hand. Come over the feet, up the inside of the legs. And then tapping into the hip area here, we call this the qua. Let's do that sequence 2 more times, beginning tapping in the kidney area. And down the outside of the legs, up the inside, and into the hips. One more time. Just come back to a neutral position, feet about shoulder width apart, just letting the arms hang free. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a few nice long deep breaths. Breathing in through the nose if you're able. You can take the out breath through either the mouth or the nose. And begin to shift your weight around a little bit, find the edges of your feet. Frequently get the question about foot gear. I like to practice barefoot. You should practice in what you're comfortable in. So I have a few people in the in-person classes that practice in socks, some of them with little rubber grippies on the bottom. Quite a few that practice barefoot, a few that practice with shoes on. It's whatever you are comfortable in. It'll depend a little bit on the surface you're working with. Let's open the eyes back up and let's connect that breath to movement. So breathing in, let the arms rise to about shoulder height. Draw the hands back in toward the body and elbows leading. Breathing out, hands float down. Breathing in as we rise. Breathing out, melting down, relaxing and releasing. Let's take one more. And then the next time the arms float up, we're going to open up, spread our wings. Come on back in, give the tree a little hug, and then flatten the palms and melt down. Extending out that in-breath as we rise and expand. Extending that out-breath as we relax and release. A little bit of an abbreviated set of this initial breath work that we do. This session's only approximately 30 minutes. Our normal classes run 45. We do a few more of these breath work forms to really lock in on moving with the breath. Let's come on back up, open up this time. Let the arms spiral in, capturing a ball right in front of us. Opening up. And the hands change places, and as you capture the ball, just let your body melt down. Breathing in as we expand. Breathing out as we bring it back in. Let's take one more like that. And then, stepping out, the same leg as the bottom hand, step out on the diagonal and toss that hand away. Breathe in, reel it back. Breathe out, toss it away. And because we're not doing strict Tai Chi, we're not too worried about the grounding of the feet. We want to keep our weight fairly balanced so we're not feeling wobbly, but feel free to, as you rock it back, go ahead and lift that front toe. As you rock it forward, lift that back heel. Focus more on the breath than any fine-tuning of form. Breathing in as we load it back up, breathing out, toss away. Letting the body follow the breath. Let's take one more on this side. And a little pause. Back hand, turn the palm up. Stepping back in and recapturing the ball. Note the other hand's on the bottom now. So let's do the same thing on the other side. Step out, toss the bottom hand away. Breathing in, breathing out. Let's take one more and then take a pause. Turn the back hand, palm up, step in, recapture the ball. Take a peek at your top fingers, whichever direction they're pointing. I'm going to carry that ball around to that side, and then turn both thumbs toward the sky. Drag your hands across the front. When they get to the other side, let the hands change places, and return. Breathing in across in one direction. Breathing out on the trip back. And just do what feels natural with the rest of your body. You might feel a need to actually step in as the hands come across. That's fine. Stay with the breath. Or maybe you're just shifting the weight as the hands come across. That works too. Don't worry too much about positioning of the hands. Mine are relatively stacked. Maybe you've got one leading the other one. Either way is fine. Focus on the breath. Let's come one more time across, and then recapture that ball over on the side. Let's carry it to the middle. Spin it part way, and then bring the hands in. Hand over hand, and let them close in over the lower belly, what we call the lower dantian. And we begin our set, activating the center. So begin to circle around your navel. Just a gentle massage. Call this activating the center. Movements that will go through and activate the center, and then we'll expand the body space in 3 different directional planes. Move the chi along the microcosmic orbit. Trace the belt meridian. And come to a movement called roots and branches, bridging the energy in earth and sky. We'll go through a sequence of spiraling the energy upwards, and then stand in that energy field and close back down to our starting position. Let's change direction here. Just breathing naturally here. This set features a mix of patterned and natural breathing. And just let your arms relax down to the side. Move on to expanding the body space, first side to side. So breathe in, bring the hands up into prayer position but not touching. As you breathe out, palms push out to either side. And you look over one finger, or one hand, the fingers. Swing your head across, looking out over the other fingers. Breathe in, hands come back together. Breathing out, split the palms, starting on the other side this time. Long breath out as we gaze across one way and then the other. Breathing in, hands come back together. Let's do one more on each side. Breathing out, gaze first over one side, then the other. Let's do one more. And the hands are going to come back together, and instead of side to side, we're going to go high and low. Pushing the palms apart, first looking high, and then looking down at the lower hand. Breathing in, let the hands come back past each other's, change places. Breathing out. Look high, look low. The last one. The last plane will be front and back. So breathe in, bring the hands back together. Breathe out. Hands go front and back, first looking behind, and then looking ahead on the out-breath. Breathing in, hands come back together. Other hand goes back, breathing out. Let's do one more with each hand back. Breathe in, hands come back together, breathe out, hands release. Turning the palms up, breathing in. Drawing the energy up the back, over the head, turning the palms over, pressing down in the front. So we move the chi along the microcosmic orbit. Drawing the energy up the back, over the crown of the head, down the front. Let's take one more in this direction. And when your hands reach the bottom this time, let's turn the palms up, reversing direction, pulling the energy up the front, over the crown of the head, drawing the energy down or back. Breathing in as we lift, breathing out as we press. One more time. And then turning to one side as we breathe in. Turn the hands in so the palms are facing the body. Breathe out. Let the hands exchange places. Turn to the other side. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. hold on this side, breathe in over here, breathe out on the other side. Just exchanging where the in and out breath are. One more time. So we trace the sash meridian. Coming back to center, breathing in. Hands rise and dip down to the shoulders as we bend the knees. Breathing out, press overhead like you're lifting a weight. Breathing in, dipping it down. Breathing out, press it overhead. This movement in the sequence is called roots and branches. So we bridge the energy between earth and sky. Let's take one more. Breathing in, breathing out. Hold up here, take a breath in, and then breathe out, release to the bottom. The next sequence will breathe naturally. This next part is called spiraling. Shift the weight to one side, step out on the ball of the other foot, spiral around the ankle. A few turns in one direction, and then a few turns in the other direction. Set that one down, shift the weight, let's do the other side. A few turns going each direction. And feet back, parallel to each other, hands to the hips. Begin circling the hips, pushing the hips out to the side, to the back, side to the front. Head stays fairly steady. Spirally energy starting at the feet and working our way up. Spiral, one of those natural shapes or forms found in all over nature. Let's take a few of these in each direction. Let's come up top, take one arm up overhead. Turn the palm to the sky. Circle the palm, stirring the clouds. Spiraling the energy above us. And take a few turns in each direction. Repeat that on the other side. And again, a few turns in each direction. And then bring both hands back to the waist. And now the entire upper torso. So push your torso forward, keeping the neck and head neutral to the spine. Rotate the entire upper torso. Take a few turns in each direction. Return to our regular standing position. Let the arms rise. Push the palms toward the ceiling. And we pause and stand in the energy field. Just take a few nice deep breaths here. One more deep breath in. And on the out breath, release down to the sides. And let's return to our neutral starting position. And we'll quickly run through our 5 posture set today. So bring the feet out a little wider than hips. Sink the tailbone with just a little bit of tension in the upper legs. Not a lot, I'm not doing a squat or anything like that. Just a little bit of tension there. Upper torso is erect. You can imagine your head being pulled up by a string, which will tuck your chin. It should form a line between your feet, up through the spine, up through the neck, and out the head. And then let's form ourselves an energy ball right in front of the lower belly. We'll just pause here for a few breaths. You can close your eyes. These static postures are part of a Qigong we call Zhuang. This is a 5 posture set out of the Shenyi Quan tradition. There are many postures. We'll do one of the classic ones as part of this set. On an inhale, let your hands move to behind the body, keeping the fingers curled. What you want to visualize is you're holding back a ball that's about to roll over you. Just breathe deeply. Do kind of an abbreviated version of these, just so you get a look at them. They're generally a little longer. Maybe next week we'll do a shorter set with longer postures. Again, on an inhale, let the arms come back to forward. Let your fingers approach each other, but not quite touch. Your visual here is like you're hugging a tree. And then consciously sink your elbows, roll your shoulders down and back. The rest of your body stays in place. A little tension in the legs, upper torso erect. This is the classic posture. We call this the standing post. You'll see variations of this with elbows up. You'll see variations of this with arms a little higher. On your next inhale, let's go to the 4th posture. Let your hands rise. Come up above eye level, and then turn the palms outward. Thumbs and forefingers pointing at each other, but the fingers curved as if holding back a ball that's heading your way from overhead. And once you have the posture set, return your gaze back to forward. Either eyes closed or just with a soft gaze fixed on a point ahead of you. And we move to the final posture on an exhale. So take one last breath in up here. And as you breathe out, take that ball that was falling on you and guide it down. You're going to guide it down and set it on the water. And hold it down. And that visual should actually make you feel a little bit of tension as the ball tries to pop back out of the water. And we pause for a few breaths. There is a natural tendency to lean a little forward as you guide that ball down. Do a little posture check, straighten up that upper torso. We're going to close right from the postures today. Take one more breath in. As you breathe out, let everything relax. Step back in, a little narrower than hips width. Let your hands come together, hand over hand. Place those over the lower belly, the lower dantian. And let's finish today with 3 deep breaths. as you release that third breath, go ahead and release your hands back to your sides, open your eyes, give everything a little shake. And thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next Tuesday. Have a great Thanksgiving. Namaste.